Hi, I'm Juan Camilo Estrada. It's a pleasure to talk to you about the Conservation Park and the work being done there. The main objective of the park is to give a second chance to animals that have been victims of illegal trade and that, due to conditions in which they were kept, cannot survive in their natural habitat. The park has 3 mission teams that work together. The biodiversity team is in charge of managing the fauna, ensuring its well-being and care. The clinic team provides veterinary medical care to the animals, ensuring their health and well-being. And the education team, now called the Social Appropriation of Knowledge team, is responsible for disseminating information about conservation and the importance of protecting biodiversity, transforming thinking and educating about wildlife conservation. In the Conservation Park, we house more than 800 animals. Distributed in different zones according to their species. Some of these zones are the spectacled bear zone, the Eastern Plain Zone, the apiary, and the primate and bird zones, among others. These animals come from seizures made by the environmental authorities or from voluntary surrender. Before entering the park, a review process is carried out to determine the most appropriate disposition for each animal. At the park, the animals are provided with comprehensive care. A medical, nutritional, biological, and histological team is in charge of their care. They are provided with adequate food, medical attention, stimulation, and training. All park staff, including animal care promoters, strive to transmit love and care to the animals, imbuing all actions with that sentiment. The Conservation Park strives to give the animals a second chance and provides them with the necessary resources for their care. This includes preventative medical care, zoological, biological, and nutritional studies. They are offered a space where they can continue to develop natural behaviours, even though they are under human care. It is important to use these conservation spaces to ensure the welfare of animals that have the It is important to use these conservation spaces to ensure the welfare It is important to use these conservation spaces to ensure the welfare of animals that have lost their natural abilities. The park's veterinary clinic specializes in wildlife care. It has state-of-the-art equipment and highly qualified personnel in the care of these animals. The needs of wildlife are different from those of our pets or domestic animals, so specialization is required to meet these particularities. When the environmental authorities deliver animals to the park, they are admitted to the clinic and undergo physical examinations to evaluate their body condition, weight, and detect possible alterations or diseases. They are then taken to a quarantine area reserved exclusively for them, where specific biosecurity protocols are followed. Follow-up examinations such as X-rays, ultrasound scans, and blood tests are performed to evaluate different aspects of their health. Hemograms, liver and kidney tests, X-rays, ultrasound scans, and in some more complex cases, even MRI scans, are performed to evaluate neurological status. These examinations are performed under general sedation in some cases, while in others, only physical restraint is required to facilitate handling of the animal. The duration of the examinations may vary according to their complexity, generally taking half a day or even a full day. Occasionally, molecule tests such as PCR are also performed to detect specific diseases so that they can be treated in time before they show symptoms. The park strives to follow proper procedures and ensure the welfare of animals throughout the medical care process. Education plays a fundamental role in wildlife conservation. The Conservation Park recognizes the importance of generating awareness and knowledge in society to promote biodiversity conservation. Through education programs and social appropriation of knowledge, we seek to inform and sensitize people about the importance of the conservation of animals and their habitat. The park strives to provide a suitable home and refuge for wild animals that cannot live in their natural habitat due to various circumstances. While it is true that it is best for a wild animal to be in its natural environment, sometimes they need to live under human care for their protection. To reduce the stress they may experience, behavioral management is implemented with the help of a clinical psychologist. This management aims to help the animals develop behaviors similar to those they would have in their natural habitat, such as socializing, finding shelter, and foraging for food. The main objective of the park is to prevent diseases in the animal population under its care. To this end, preventative health programs are carried out, including complete examinations, biography, imaging, and support of neurological specialists. These programs allow us to prevent and treat diseases, especially in older animals that tend to have conditions that are typical of their age. The aim is to provide the best possible quality of life for the animals while they are under the park's care. In terms of strategies to promote conservation in society, the park develops educational programs aimed at different groups such as students, visitors, and local communities. These programs seek to raise awareness about the importance of wildlife conservation and promote responsible behavior towards the environment. Talks, workshops, interactive activities, and relevant information about biodiversity and the challenges it faces are shared. In addition, the park encourages scientific research and collaboration with academic and scientific institutions to promote knowledge and conservation of wildlife. It also promotes alliances with organizations and governmental entities to work together in the protection and conservation of biodiversity. I led a wonderful team dedicated to environmental education for biodiversity conservation. Our main objective is to foster knowledge and understand of the issues and importance of biodiversity, as well as to promote actions for its conservation. We consider ourselves the voice of those living beings that communicate differently and that the human species has been slow to understand for a long time. For example, we are currently in the bee module, where we talk to people and conduct workshops. For example, we are currently in the bee module, where we talk to people and conduct workshops to learn how to conserve pollinators. We are storytellers of biodiversity stories, their context and issues. We conduct research on each animal in the park to understand its biology and biodiversity. In addition, we take care of communication and create thematic interpretation scripts to convey these stories in an appropriate way to children, teenagers, and adults. We also focus on listening to visitors' questions and concerns as they have interacted with diversity in unsustainable ways. From these interactions, we begin educational conversations to avoid unsustainable actions and reinforce behaviours that are respectful of biodiversity. One outstanding project we are working on is the conservation of an invertebrate species in partnership with the Ubra Valley metropolitan area. Through agreements, we focus on risk management related to invasive bees, wasps, and snails. We teach communities not to fear bees and wasps, but to behave and respect their space. We have created shelters for solitary bees and wasps in the park, where more than 25 individuals have found a home. The children in the Science Club identify these shelters, which is a beautiful process. In addition, we promote the culture of gardens and balconies, encouraging the cultivation of native plants. If people consider that there is a risk, we recommend that they contact the metropolitan area or send an email to user service at metropol.gov.com. In collaboration with the technical team and the metropolitan area, we evaluate the need for bee rescue and relocation. There is a community dedicated to caring for these bees called relocators, who play a vital role in their protection and care. When the bees are strong enough, they use their honey for the organic trade. The importance of bees in pollination is fundamental. As their disappearance has had a negative impact on food production in Europe and has affected the food security of both human and animal populations in ecosystems. In the United States, comprehensive management strategies have been implemented not only for the Africanized honeybees. In our park, together with the metropolitan area,
Este proyecto nos deja como mensaje el deber de cuidar y respetar desde la especie más grande hasta la especie más pequeña.
we strive to address this issue through rescue, relocation, and community building, but most importantly through education. The purpose of the park and conservation is to educate visitors about the presence of each animal and why they are refugees in that place. We want visitors to understand the actions we take medically, nutritionally, biologically, and ecologically to ensure the well-being of these animals. In addition, it is essential that visitors become actively involved and carry out conservation and care actions, such as not supporting wildlife traffic, reducing speed on the roads, responsible consumption, and proper disposal of waste. Our obligation is to share with visitors 3 fundamental premises that guide our actions. First, we tell them the origin of each animal and the circumstances under which they arrived at the park. Secondly, we explain the measures we take from the teams of nutrition, veterinary medical care, behavior, and technology to improve the conditions of the animals. And thirdly, we invite visitors to join us in the conservation process. Environmental education in this park seeks to give visitors a thorough understanding of the real problems we face, not only with the individuals who have been victims of wildlife trafficking, but also with what is happening in the ecosystems. It is essential that a visit to the conservation park does not end up as just an experience, but that families leave with clear ideas about what they can do in their homes, farms, or territories to contribute conservation. We have great responsibility since from the education area we seek to measure the impact of our educational actions. We evaluate the prior and subsequent knowledge of the children and families who participate in our workshops. We also try to measure whether there is a social appropriation of knowledge and whether people are taking concrete conservation actions. Communicating is an important responsibility, but we hope that people can also take ownership of this information and carry out real conservation actions. It is crucial that humans respect the species that live in protected areas, nature reserves, forests, and jungles, as no one wants to be uprooted from their home. Now let's hear what the experts have to say about caring for wild animals. Our main objective is to help preserve and conserve wildlife, which is the most valuable thing we have in this part of Colombia. Many of the animals found here are critically endangered, which alerts us to the imminent threat of extinction they face. These species are endangered due to the destructive actions that we humans carry out, such as the destruction of their habitat, illegal trafficking. The daily coexistence between humans and wildlife is becoming a conflict, when in reality we should coexist harmoniously. Working in this conservation park gives us the opportunity to protect and preserve wildlife. We want to make a contribution to continue conserving these species that otherwise we could only see in places where they are completely protected. We are facing this serious problem because there has been a lack of environmental education, and we need everyone to join in and try to understand the loss of biodiversity and the associated problems, such as the mistreatment and trafficking of animals. I believe that if we manage to transmit clear messages and offer information in the park about what is happening with bees, mammals, and birds, if people visit us and ask any questions they may have, if they know where to deliver an animal, who to report it to, or what actions to take, that translates into environmental education. It is about appropriating knowledge to know how to act in a sustainable way. If we are in this crisis of biodiversity loss, it is because there has been a lack of environmental education in general. Although there are isolated projects, it is necessary to take them to every corner of Colombia. Parque La Conservación seeks to do just that. And above all, it seeks to make people critical in the way we relate to biodiversity, even when visiting parks like this one. It is important to mention that some people visit these parks but continue to carry out unsustainable actions. We should not visit these places only to support conservation programs, but also to join conservation actions. We should not feed the animals and harm their diet, nor touch the glass and cause them stress. Visiting these parks should be an opportunity to join conservation actions and not to do the opposite. Together, I believe we can build a more sustainable world where wildlife is not involved in unnecessary conflicts. As it is to give them a second chance, which is difficult, at least the park is there to do it. But hopefully life will always stay where it belongs, which is in its ecosystem. The greatest good we can do to combat illegal trafficking is to end the purchase of wild animals and denounce this practice. You, my friends, become part of that solution and not part of the problem. We are gradually coming to an end with our program, but first we are going to review with you the photographs you share with us through our email epicentrotvagro@gmail.com. This is our section closer to the field. Federico Estrada from the city of Medellin shares 2 photographs with us. This one was taken here in the capital of Antigua. Look at this beauty of 2 parrots in a tree, giving contrast and a lot of life to that tree. What a beauty your little animals that we must take care of and preserve. Ruben Dario Lopez from Manizales, Caldas, shares with us this beautiful photograph of a canyoneer from his farm. The canyoneers always accompany us in our program, always inevitable, giving us color and a lot of life. Juan David Bustamante shares his capture of the Cloud Forest Reserve in Santa Elena, here in Antigua. You can see the beautiful colors of these plants. Nelcy Anilo de Casas from Santa Veronica, Atlantico, says, "Good afternoon. I'm sending photos of a bird called Maria Mulata. Thank you very much for sharing it with us, Nelsie, and thank you very much for participating in the Closer to the Field section. Remember that you can send any photos and videos that bring you closer to the field to our email epicentrotvagro@gmail.com, or also if you wish to publish them on social networks with the hashtag number closer to the TV field. And so we end this new edition of the Epicenter. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember to write us, and also that you can watch this program on our YouTube channel. I'm Juan Camilo Estrada, and I'll see you next time.